You know that feeling, right? Staring at a textbook, just hoping the words will magically click? Well, what if that book could actually rewrite itself, just for you? A brand new paper from Google's LearnLM team is looking at exactly that, how we can use generative AI to completely reinvent the textbook as we know it.
Just think back to your school days for a second. How many times did a textbook just feel dense or boring or totally disconnected from anything you actually cared about? It's a pretty universal feeling. And the researchers behind this new system, they started with that very simple question. Why is learning from a book so often a real struggle?
And what they found is pretty simple, but it's profound. The core problem, as they put it, is that textbooks are a one-size-fits-all medium. They just can't adapt to use an individual because, creating a custom version for every single student has always been basically impossible. Until now.
All right, so let's dig into this fundamental challenge a little bit more.
So what it really boils down to is this: inflexibility. A traditional book has no idea if you're in middle school or college. It doesn't know you're obsessed with soccer or music or video games, and it certainly can't change its teaching style if you happen to be more of a visual learner. This is the exact problem that AI is now, for the first time, in a perfect position to solve.
So what's the solution look like? Well, the team at Google built an experimental system to not just augment, but to really supercharge the traditional textbook.
They call it Learn Your Way. And honestly, the mission is right there in the name. It's an AI system designed to take any existing textbook content and morph it into this dynamic, interactive experience that's tailored specifically to you, the learner. The whole goal is to make learning more engaging and, crucially, a lot more effective.
So how does this whole thing work? It's actually a really elegant two-step process. First, the AI personalizes the text itself. It'll adjust the reading level to be right for you, and, this is the magic part, it rewrites the examples to match your actual interests. Then, in step 2, it takes that newly personalized text and creates multiple views or different formats, so you can learn in whatever way works best for you.
Okay, this is where it gets really, really cool. Let's actually take a look at what Learning Your Way feels like when you're using it.
This example just perfectly captures the power of this idea. So let's say you need to learn Newton's third law of motion. Well, if you're a basketball fan, the AI explains it using the force of a ball bouncing off the court. But if you're an art fan, it explains the exact same physical principle using the force of a paintbrush pressing against the canvas.
Think about that. It's the same core concept, but it's grounded in completely different passions. And that is the key insight right there. When you connect new information to something a person already knows and cares about, it just sticks.
And it goes way beyond just the text. The system gives you options, putting you in the driver's seat. You can read the main immersive text, sure, but maybe you prefer a slides and narration view, kind of like a classic classroom lesson. Or there's an audiographic lesson that feels like a one-on-one chat with a teacher. Or hey, if you just want the big picture, you can pull up a mind map. You get to choose.
And that main immersive text isn't just some boring wall of words either. No, it's packed with all these interactive features. The AI can spin up a visual timeline if you're learning history. It can create custom mnemonics to help you remember key facts, generate illustrations on the fly to explain a tricky concept, and it even embeds questions right in the middle of the text to make sure you're actually thinking, not just passively reading.
Okay, this all sounds absolutely amazing in theory, right? But here's the billion-dollar question. Does it actually work? Does this fancy AI tool actually lead to better learning? Well, the researchers put it to the test.
So here's what they did. They ran a proper randomized controlled trial with 60 high school students. They split them right down the middle into two groups. One group, the experimental group, got to use Learn Your Way to study a chapter on adolescent brain development. The other half, the control group, used just a standard digital PDF reader to study the exact same material.
So the setup is clear, right? Same content, same amount of time, but two very different ways of learning. So the big question is, which group do you think actually performed better on the test they took afterwards? The results, well, they were pretty striking. On a test taken right after the study session, the students who used Learn Your Way scored significantly higher. And when scientists say significant, they mean it's not a fluke. It's very unlikely this result happened by chance. The personalized tool led to a real, measurable improvement in understanding. But honestly, this next part is even more impressive. The researchers didn't stop there. They tested the students again 3 days later to see how much they actually retained. And guess what?
the advantage held strong. The Learn Your Way group still scored significantly higher, proving that the knowledge they gained wasn't just temporary. It actually stuck with them.
You know, learning isn't just about what you score on a test, it's also about the experience. And on that front, wow, the difference was huge. A full 90% of the students using the AI tool said it was enjoyable, compared to just over half in the regular reader group. And let's be real, a more enjoyable process means a more motivated student, every time.
And check out the impact on student confidence. An incredible 83% of the Learn Your Way students felt the tool made them better at learning. That's more than double the other group. And would they use it again? A massive 93% said yes. So students didn't just learn more, they felt like they were learning more, and they actually wanted to come back and use the tool again. That's a huge win.
So what does all of this really mean for the bigger picture? Let's zoom out for a second and think about the future of education. Look, the main takeaway from all this research is really simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. When you build it on solid learning science, AI isn't just some gimmick. It can make the process of learning quantifiably better. It becomes more effective, way more engaging, and, for the first time ever, truly personal on a massive scale.
And, you know, as promising as these results are, the researchers themselves are quick to point out that this is just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg. They're already imagining a future where these systems get even smarter, adapting in real time to a student's progress and fitting seamlessly into classrooms to help out both students and teachers.
Which really just leaves us with this one big, fascinating question to think about. This kind of technology is clearly moving out of the lab and into the real world. So, what would it mean for an entire generation of students if their education was no longer a one-size-fits-all experience, but was instead built from the ground up just for them?